Shall we pray? First of all, before we pray, I just want to say it's a blessing to be here tonight.
Yes.
Amen. But I know that God has a purpose for each and everything in our lives. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, right now we pause to tell you we thank you, we love you, we adore you. Lord, we ask you to bless each one of us that we may have open minds and open hearts to for the betterment of our city, that it may grow in prosperity, not just prosperity or numerically, but as far as spirituality goes, Father.
Yes.
Lord, we ask you to just continue to bless those that manage the day-to-day affairs of our city, that they may do it with the purpose that much good may come from it.
Yes.
And Lord, we ask you to just bless each one of us. And when we've done all that we can on this side of life, we ask you for a home in our kingdom in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Member Lanfair, Member Jarrett, Member 70 here, Member Shepherd,
Here.
Member Downey,
Here.
Vice Chair Snell,
Here.
Chair Hayes.
Here.
Thank you. We move on to B is the consent agenda. Any questions or comments about the meeting, last meeting? If not, I entertain a motion to accept them.
Make a motion to accept it?
I have a first and a second. Please call the roll.
Member 70? Yes. Member Shepherd,
Yes.
Member Downey,
Yes.
Vice Chair Snell,
Yes.
Chair Hayes.
Yes. Moving on to action is our action city manager.
Correct.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So this is a discussion. We're going to talk about the fishing piers at Lake Tulane and Lake Lutella. In our in the budget that was created for this year, for fiscal year 26, Lake Tulane had a fishing pier budgeted for $40,000. Ben Hicks, which on Lotella is at $40,000, and a seawall of $115,000. We went out, we met up with a couple of contractors when we, myself, Liz, and Jeanette, when I'd say probably 2-3 months ago, and we were going over the project. And as I was looking at the project and the best place to position this, I also heard from the person that originally gave us like a budgetary quote, which came into, how we ended up coming about with some of the numbers. And the budgetary quote was based off of a fixed pier that would go out, like a wooden pier that you would normally see that goes out. But one of the things I noticed about being on Tulane is that body of water consistently fluctuates, like big time. It'll go up, it'll drop down really far. And one of my concerns is that if we have a pier that goes out into the water and say, okay, we're calling it a fishing pier, or are we calling it a swimming pier? Because people will likely jump off. Mm-hmm. And I just don't want, one of my fears is that we put that pier where it's high, it's maybe at like a mid-level, and then kids go and jump off and the water's actually really low. And I don't want something to happen to the kids there. So the thing that I was thinking about was an actual floating dock, which many places use with the lakes, which will adjust with the level of the water. That way it's not very high out or very far down. And also in case, you have a ladder, someone could swim up to it, but it would always be a couple feet, a foot and a half or so off the water, maybe 2. So looking at it, I started evaluating it. And then what came into play was the access. So the access would require ADA access. And then I looked at the best route and how we would do that. At Lake Tulane, on the western side where the beach is, there's no sidewalks over there. There's no parking, so it's all grass. So if I go in and we go to build this, then I'm going to need some form of ADA access to get out there. That then goes into a parking lot, potential some sidewalks. Maybe I can blend that in with the pavilion that's already there. So I'm gonna get up, Matt, if you could bring up that PowerPoint. This is just for visual reference. I just made it real quick so you guys can see it. So you hear me out? Okay, perfect. I'll go over here to this one so everyone can see. So in this area that's right here, we would be looking potentially to put some kind of parking, maybe just for handicap space parking. So I would have to look in and get that engineered to put the parking and potentially turn this pavilion, turn this pavilion into maybe like a ADA to have some benches that accommodate as ADA accessible. Next slide, please. So this is just getting a good look at it. If we were to set up something, this is where the fishing pier would be, and whether we decide we want it to be floating or we want it to be fixed. So I would have to bring in a parking lot, come in, bring a concrete walkway down, and then that would go to what's like a gangway, because that would fluctuate. It's just like a pivoting arm. It would go up and down. It has a ramp on it. And we would have to install that. But that would be significantly more once I start getting into this than the $40,000 that was kind of budgeted for it. And I provided this picture also just so you could see looking westward. There's no sidewalks. There's nothing here. Now, next slide, please. And now just looking to the east, the same type of thing. So if we put a parking lot, we get a sidewalk come down there, we would be fine. Now, where we were looking at potentially doing a seawall, I think we could save some money, because the only place where it looks like we really need that is down in this area. However, maybe some of that seawall money can go into just shoring up that parking lot if needed, if we have to get it engineered and there's some kind of retention or something along the lines that the whoever would build that parking, the engineer, there would be those requirements to shore that up so we wouldn't have anything washing off or have an issue with our parking spaces. Next slide, please. So this I went online just so you can read it. Requires at least one accessible route, connect accessible buildings, facilities, elements, and spaces on site, accessible boat slips, accessible boarding piers at boat launch ramps, and other accessible space elements within a boating facility must also be connected by an accessible route. So I just wanted to bring this up to you. This is some of the ADA rules, and this goes into, and it gets into gangways of what you need to have. But there's significant engineering behind this. As much as I like just to go out there and go throw it out there, I would like to do it. And I did take a trip out to Hardy County. Can you go to the pictures I sent you, Matt, please? So this was one of the floating docks, and I think we could save a lot of money just with our own staff to potentially put in, actually install, just purchase them delivered, and then maybe our staff just assist with driving the pilings. And this is just a plastic cap that goes over the post. But from what I understand, and talking to multiple people, it's not that hard to drive those down. And if you go try to get a contract in, you're really getting into it, because they're putting all kinds of fees on top of it. Can you look at one of the other slides? So that's Liz, not very happy. No, I'm joking. So here's the gangway. As you can see, if the lake went up, then that would rise with it, right? And that's frequently a problem, because there's people that are on our lake. Terry Hessen, he has a dock, and we can kind of just sit there, and that's like the watermark, and we can see where it is. And sometimes it's really low and it's out of the water. And I've been told that dock's been completely submerged. And I said, that's been submerged? And they said, yeah, that water's been all the way up to. So there's plenty of things I'm trying to take into consideration and see how much we can get it, I guess, at near the highest mark, but still just be in a good situation just in case. So to get the feeling of
You have a 36 inches, the ADA requirement, right? And then is it a slope?
it,
1 and 12.
112, okay.
so that's the slope. So, and I think there's a little bit of play in here just because of the fluctuation that in the ADA, this doesn't necessarily have to be exact because of how it goes up and down. There's an exception to that rule for this, but the other parts have to be sloped correctly. Maybe you could, can you go to another slide, please?
Jason,
Or
Jason,
yes, yes, sir.
if this would be a floating dock, how would we control where it floats? What side would it float to? What about if it floats to the side that uninhabitable by?
It would be in place by you see these posts right here?
Mm-hmm.
That would go down into the sand, into the bottom, and then this just goes over it, and that kind of just rises and lowers on the inside of
Okay.
this cap, but it would stay in place. And I went on this dock. This is a very sturdy dock. I was like, this is well built. I was happy with it, and I actually reached out to them to give me a rough price. I don't want to say it in front of everybody
Okay.
because it may go on a bid, but so it's a very well built dock. I liked it when I got out there. It was really nice. But I just wanted to get the feeling of the board and the community. What do y'all feel about the floating dock versus the fixed dock?
Yes.
I don't know if members of the community want to come up and answer those questions or how you want to go about it. Want to do a show of hands? Maybe.
Yes, Ms. Gray.
Okay, Miss Gray, come on
I'm not
up.
sure if you're waving or not. Ms. Mary.
Okay. I don't know your question, but Brenda Gray, 410 East Lakeview Drive, Avon Park. I just want to ask a question. You said you don't know if we want a fishing dock or a swimming dock. I was under the understanding it was going to be a fishing dock because the fishing people is the one that really started this conversation about a dock.
Yeah.
And then my second question is, that's it, the where you're talking about putting it at, that's the swimming area.
Yes,
What about on where the boat ramp is? Is no room over there to put the dock at?
I can put like a smaller one. We can get going. We can see what the prices are, but I can put a smaller one so they can put a boat to it, so they don't have to like try to put a rope and when it comes back, pull it back to shore type of thing. Because there's not a current dock out there now. It's just a ramp.
Just a boat ramp?
Yes.
I like the idea of it being a floating dock. I like that. As far as, I like the ADA compliance, that's really good. I was just thinking about maybe if not on the swimming side, it could go on the fishing side, where we all fish at. Thank you.
Okay, so here I'll ask this just for y'all, and it could be a lot easier. Is there still the feel that y'all want a fishing dock in that location, or would you want it over on the west side of Tulane, right there where the boat ramp is? Would you like just to have a fishing there? Because it would be much less, and I wouldn't have to go through all that. And yeah, and where there's ramps, we already can basically. It would be cheap for us to get what we need to get any kind of compliance there. Cheaper.
I used to live on that lake for a while, and that's where everyone fishes. The other side where they swim is just too shallow. They go all the weeds and stuff are there.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Good evening. Tom Macklin, 609 County Road 64 East here in Avon Park. I'm very familiar with these particular docks. The only ones I've seen in Hardy County like that is out at Hardy Lakes, and I've been on them numerous times. I will tell you that those are strictly for fishing because there's way too many gators out there for anybody to want to go swimming. In fact, they've got signs out there that says you cannot go swimming in any of the 4 different lakes out there at Hardy Lakes. That being said, if there's going to be one, that's the way to go. From a maintenance perspective, and we have storms, it would do much better in a storm than something that was fixed in there, and the waves are going to come in there and, you know, tear them up. I've seen a lot of them around Lake Reedy and other places that have been tore up in storms, and, you know, we never know what's going to happen here in Highlands County. But that's the way to go. They're very durable, and they're used a lot there. But I also agree that they don't need to be near a permitted swimming area if they're going to be a fishing pier. The problem that I see with it is that it's an attractive nuisance in that there's going to be a lot of people that want to go and use it as a diving platform. And it won't be where the permitted swimming area is. So you're going to have that as well. If you put it in the right place for fishing, it's in the wrong place for swimming. So, but that's the dock you need.
Okay.
If you're going to do one, that's the way to go.
Thank you. That's exactly what I need. Does advisory board feel the same way? And I can move quicker now that I got a good feeling of what you guys want, and to get them over by the boat ramp. Can you go back to the PowerPoint, please, Matt? And just a couple slides in when we get over one more. So, and Lotila, and kind of where we're looking at is over, this is on Ben Hicks. One more slide, please. So basically you see the arrow. I would just put it here on this side. And is everyone okay with it going on that side, by the way? No problem. So I would put it on this side, and this would go out. This is a shallower, it's a shallower lake, at least going out this way than 2-lane. So I'm guessing it might go out 40, 50 feet, something like that, to get out somewhere with some cleats on it so the boats can tie up to it and whatnot. And then, I love this area. When I first came here, I had a rod and I was casting in there. I love this area. I think we can do something to this in the future. That would be great. But yeah, so I can get that and put that dock that you're looking for, put it in there. I just wanted to make sure floating was good with you guys, and I can move on that quick.
Is that Lake Lotila, correct?
Yes, Lake Lotila.
But keep in mind, if I stand to be corrected, over to
What I
your
said.
right, there's a canal.
Yes, there's a canal. There's a canal on the side.
Yeah, that current is always swift.
Yeah, I heard it's got a current out there. That's
Yeah.
what,
Oh, it does.
I haven't swam in there, but I heard it has it.
So will we do anything as far as involving the canal? No.
No, this is just going to be right off here, and this is just shallow. And there's actually there's like concrete edging curbing that comes
Right.
out. It goes into the water, and would basically follow the line of that going out into the water. Yes,
Jason, I have a
Councilwoman.
question. You're saying this is where the pier would go, right here, where this red marker's at?
right here, ma'am. Yes.
Is that not
Going
where?
out.
Is that not where they put their boats off? Right there.
It would follow right along the edge where they put the boat. So when the boat's going in, the trailer has a spot to back down, but close enough to where they have someone could just be walking on the edge and just pull the boat over to the side so they can get on it safely. Instead of now you got to put the boat in either with somebody in the boat or just have a rope long enough and then just push it off and then pull it back onto shore, which is a little bit of a challenge. It could be done.
And
It's done frequently.
You probably know more about it than I do, but the question is that safe to have where the guys are backing up their trailers to let their boats off? Is that safe next to the dock?
Yeah, that's exactly what they use them for. That's the purpose of it. And then and sometimes they'll have like little bumpers on them, so you can just pull the boat up to it, so it doesn't get beat up by the dock, and the dock's somewhat protected as well from getting beat up by the boats. But that's exactly what you have it for.
Okay, my next question, we back to 2-lane. If they decide to go with a pier over there on South Lake Boulevard, the pier, how far would that go out from the shoreline?
It may not go out that far because it gets pretty deep there. It gets deep fast. So I just have to see maybe 30 something feet or so. We'll see where we're at. I wouldn't go that far. I think the maximum I'd probably have it in is probably 10 foot of water or something like that.
Jason, was it 40 and something else? What was the total budget? that we
It
started
was
out with?
40, 40, and 115. And I will say this. So this is in the South Side CRA, right? So we are working something that wasn't planned for necessarily, us coming up with this parking lot, the property with, to put the parking lot by the Memorial Garden. So we are going to be roughly probably $8,000 under without construction of that parking lot. So we're going to go over that. So we're going to have to realign some money to get over to fund that portion, to fund that project. And maybe some of the seawall money goes over there. We may not need that much money like there is for the seawall, and I'm still able to do some of the seawall work that we spoke about.
So the 115 was the seawall?
Yes, sir. But I may end up taking a little bit or request that a little bit of that money be shifted over towards the parking lot construction. I think we may be able to get it if we make that compromise.
I think we ought to give you more money,
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
not cut it short. You know, allocate more funds to do what needs to be done. They did this out at Arbuckle Creek. They built the standard dock with posts. It's not floating, and it's 6.5 feet. I can be on the airboat in my seat and stand up to be able to look at the top of the dock. So that's what can happen in our lakes and, you know, whatever. The floating dock, everybody's going to use that. That's going to be level all the time. So if you can work out the semantics of it as far as handicap accessibility, and then, you know, your parking for handicap and all that has to be paved, and the 1 in 12 rule with the exemption you can get for it because of the action of the water and all that mess. But that's the only way to go. You know, and I don't think you have much choice in the lakes that fluctuate as much as those do.
I would foresee bathrooms in the future, maybe on the Ben Hicks site. Probably not this other one. We do have bathrooms on the other side. That's on over there by the housing. So, if there's any other questions, that's where I can pretty quick on that, and I did get the pricing, so I can try to, let's say, make it specific. But I really like the product, and some of these products vary, significantly with their cost, but also their quality. So you could think you got something like, I went out and looked at one. I didn't put it up there, and I won't say something bad about it. But when I walked down the floating dock, I can just feel it rocking back and forth. I was not a fan. So I don't think anybody wanted to be on that. But I'll move forward with the direction with this.
Thank you.
Chair Hayes, can I request that we move item C5 up? We have our CRA attorney Shepherd on the Zoom.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll ask that Trinity and the group will come up and do their proposal, please.
So,
Jason's going to give an
so
introduction.
yeah, I'm gonna do an introduction.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna just do this. So. All right, y'all can hear me? Okay. So just in case, I don't know if there's something comes up, I may have to pat the mic to do a presentation. So I would say 2 months ago, Dr. Anderson, he had reached out to me and discussed potential for some housing alternatives, whether it be 55 and older or low-income housing, and how would we feel, how would our council feel, CRA feel about him coming in and do a presentation. I do recall there was one of the projects we were working on, and Councilwoman Taylor, I recall you saying something about housing, and that, we wanted to get in. I think there was 55 and older housing, but you wanted to get in affordable housing. And I recall that was in the back of my head. And I said, yeah, everybody likes affordable housing, but we really want like great looking affordable housing. So, and something that looks really good. So, in speaking to Dr. Anderson, he showed me a couple, I don't know, cut now. Let me get it. Thank you. That's one. Hello, hello, okay. So, speaking of Dr. Anderson, he showed us a couple of some of his projects, and I looked, and it looked really good. He gave a great presentation, and then he asked to meet up to go over and look at some properties that may be beneficial for this, and it had to have proximity to schools, transportation, grocery stores, different things like that. Things you would need from this housing project. So, in speaking to him, we looked at several different areas, and after that conversation, during the conversation, we saw a really nice looking property, and said this would be a perfect area, but it wasn't available at the time. And I thought about it a lot, and then one day I was there, and he was reaching out to me and said he was narrowing down the properties. So I think we had one more ride along, and we looked, and then I gave him a call, and I said, hey, that property we looked at that we thought was perfect is available. And so in doing so, he put his team on it, and then basically they looked at it, they mapped it out, and are ready to come in today with a presentation. And thank you. He's excellent to work with so far, and he's Avon Park. I don't know if a native, but I know he knows everybody in the crowd, so that's great. So
Born and reared,
yeah.
right here. Homegrown.
So if you're doing the presentation and you need to walk up here, Mike, you can I'll keep it here.
Thank you, City Manager. I want to thank the City Manager along with Jeanette and all the team from the City of Avon Park for the opportunity to be here tonight. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Charles Anderson, and this is Manny with Green Mills, and we want to share a presentation with you about bringing affordable housing, truly affordable housing to the City of Avon Park. Not just senior housing, but our goal for the Avon Park is to bring family affordable housing for families so that individuals within Avon Park can live in a place that really looks like a resort. And so Manny's going to kind of take us through this presentation, and we're going to kind of do it together. And so we'll tell you a little bit about Green Mills and who we are, and show you some of the projects that we're doing and how we want to work with your team and the folks in the City of Avon Park to bring an amazing facility right here to this location. So Manny, is the mic on for recording purposes or no?
Yes,
Do we need
it's
it?
on for recording purposes, but
Okay.
if you want, just speak out of the blue one. But if you have to go up and point some things out, we can for the crowd, but they can't. I don't think anyone could see you online. Maybe just the back of your head. That's about.
That's okay.
Where's the?
It's right there. He's bringing it up.
Thank you for that intro. Very much appreciated. Like Pastor said, my name is Manny Diaz. I'm with Green Mills Group. I'm a development manager, and we also have Tyler here. He's an associate with Green Mills Group as well. Pastor Anderson and I have gone a few years back now. We're developing a community on his church currently called Trinity Village. It's 102 unit senior family development. And I'll show you some of the examples of some of the product we build. But one of my goals today is to get your feedback, questions on this potential project, and also ask two things of the city to be able to make the project reality. So a little bit. You have a mic because I just have to like bend it.
Next slide.
Thanks. So a little bit about Green Mills. We build affordable housing, true capital A, affordable housing, 80% AMI and below housing all over the state of Florida. We tend to do a lot of repeat businesses within certain municipalities, which I'm sure you can see that, where we have strong relationships, which we take very seriously. We are longtime partners in the community. We never sell any of our developments. So once we're in the community, we stay for the whole life cycle of the community. They are fully professionally managed communities with services and many other things like financial literacy, job training, and other services that are on a weekly and monthly basis.
We've built up to 1,200, a little over 1,200 units so far. We have 500 in progress and another 434 in the pipeline. Something else we take very seriously is our aesthetic of our buildings. We don't believe that there should be any difference between market rate housing and affordable housing. These are some of our communities. I'll go through some of them in a little bit. So there is really no difference. These are fully amenitized developments, fully amenitized. We're very meticulous about the paint, the design. We hire an ID team, interior design team to come in and design the interior. We take a lot of pride in our work. If the development doesn't look strong enough for us to be able to build the work product that we build to, we will simply say no. We have a standard that we like to build to, and if we can't achieve that, we'd rather not do it.
One of the things that I also want to point out, when you look at this facility, it looks like a resort. And Green Mills, we take pride in building facilities that look amazing. And there's a stigmatism sometimes when you talk about affordable housing. You talk about that being built, but that's not what happens here. And this is a facility that was built in Central Florida, and you can tell it looks like anywhere in Orlando or anywhere that you go. It doesn't look like it is.
Next slide, please. This is Midtown Lofts. This was a development we did in the Midtown CRA of Lakeland. We actually had a public, where artists do a public sculpture that's open to the public with seating. This is a family development, family deal. This is Auburn. Oops, I keep thinking when I change it here, it goes on this. This is Auburn Village. This was also, well, this was a seniors deal, 102 units. This is Ada Palms and Winter Haven. Oh, no, okay. Lakeland. Next slide. So this was a site that Mr. Atkins and Pastor Anderson helped to identify. I'll dive into it in a little bit here. Are you familiar? Can you see the street signs? You're familiar with where the site is?
Yes.
Okay.
That's off Lake Avenue. So if anyone's wondering where that is, it's Lake Avenue. That's about a little over half a mile up on the, heading north, and it's on your left-hand side, on the west side of Lake Ave.
Just before the Manors.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that's unique about what we do with these facilities, they are amenitized. Every facility pool, it has a gymnasium, it has a walk park, it has a dog park, it has a computer rooms, it has game rooms, has balconies, and and also it has a community garden, so that the residents within the community can also be able to work together. And one of the things that the state that we do in all of our communities, whether it's a family community or whether it's a senior community, we provide services for families, meaning for senior citizens, we provide things like computer classes. We do things like working with senior services and veteran services, so that we make sure that people that are in our community are active and moving forward. It's a great project, and so as we look at moving into Avon Park, we identified this particular property, and we want to show you tonight, what can we put on this property? What's it going to look like based on it? We think it's a perfect site. We think it's an amazing site to put family housing on. And I think we're looking at somewhere between 106 units that we can provide for families, 2 and 3 facilities, and some 1-bedrooms potentially. But we'll be able to provide a place in this community that will 100% always be family housing. And a lot of times the stigmatism when we talk about affordable housing, some developers say, well, how long is it going to stay? Well, it's going to be forever. We never change any of our facilities from affordable to what we call market rate. It stays there so that people can live there and be able to enjoy their life and have a facility and a home that they can be proud of. So this is a site, and so let's kind of take a look at, if you'll go to the next slide. This is the facility that we looked at. There's the current zoning for this facility is R1A, 26 units, 26 total units, 4 units per acre. But in order for us to build there's going to be some asks that we'll ask the city. We'll probably have to do some zoning changes to make it work so that we can make this thing happen. I'm going to let Manny talk a little bit about the facility itself and the buildings and the structure that's on it. But it is 100% fully amenitized facility.
Yep, that is right. As you can, I'm sure it's pretty small for you all to see, but we have the pool. We have a 5,000 square foot clubhouse with a library, a business room, a game center, a open club space for events. But this site, this development is actually based off of one of our developments in Citrus County, more specifically Inverness, called Colonnade Park. So we have actually done this development before. It's specific to families. So we asked one of our civil engineers to see if we can fit that same development on this site, and we were actually able to do it. So this is what you see here in front of you. This is a mirror image of Colonnade Park. The density that we would need to make it work is around 16 to 18 units per acre to achieve that 90 to 110 unit density. Colonnade Park is 3 stories, but the height we would need is around 3 to 4 stories.
Next slide. This is a
Yeah.
proposed rendering for yes.
I do want to chime in on, can you go back to one slide, please? I do want to chime in. They did come, we had a conversation. We were online with the fire chief, myself, the public works director, and Jeanette, and we were looking at the design. And we did state for this design, we would want a wrapping, basically, to be able to drive all the way around. And the reason for that is for the fire truck, so that the fire truck, it does go up 75 feet, but it will need to be close enough to the buildings, and that would accomplish it. Plus, any service that we bring a vehicle in, we would then be able to drive around, because if it was fire, then they would be required to have a spot for them to turn around.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we requested it, and they implemented it. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, of course, of course.
This is a potential rendering that we're looking at for that facility. It's an amazing. I think it's beautiful. And of course, the color changes could be different. We'll work with the city staff and those that are there to make the appropriate changes that you would like. But this is one of the proposed elevation for this facility, whether it's 2 or 3 stories or whether it's 3 or 4 stories.
Yep. And the height of this particular elevation here to the middle of the roof is about 39 feet, 3 stories. Next slide. So I figured that if we were mirroring it off of Colonnade, which is a current development we have in Citrus, I could show you some of the interior photos of Colonnade. So this is the 5,000 square foot clubhouse of Colonnade here. We have some of the amenities that are involved here. So this is a real picture of what it looks like inside of Colonnade. Next slide. Some exterior photos. This community, of course, does have a pool. Again, fully amenitized, beautiful community. Next slide, please. The LGAO. So why does the LGAO matter? What is the LGAO? It's a big ticket item in the affordable housing world. It's a local government area of opportunity loan. And the LGAO is a Florida housing funding goal that awards affordable housing developments receiving meaningful support from the local government. Why is it important? Florida Housing has made the LGAO one of the most competitive funding goals for the 9% tax credits. And more specifically, why it matters to this site is that Florida Housing mandates from us for these sites to meet a certain criteria. And if the development doesn't meet all those criterias or has a shortfall in some of those criterias, we either can't submit the application or it's just not a competitive enough application for us to submit and win. But with the LGAO, it supersedes all those shortfalls, which in this site there are a few, but with the LGAO, we'll be able to submit and have a very high chance of winning with another goal called permit ready, but that's, yeah. So this screenshot is from the Florida Housing RFA. So per the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, Highlands County is considered a small medium county with a contribution for an LGO of $340,000. With that $340,000 contribution, it tells Florida Housing that this municipality is supporting this development, and with that support, we can apply for that LGO for that goal. The typical loan terms are between 1% and 2%, 30-year term, interest only, and the loans are typically drawn at the start of construction or at the time of stabilization or CO. It's up to the city in the discussions. Next slide. This is a little example of the 2026 Highlands County area medium income. The next slide, which we're not going to go to yet, but the next slide will show an actual screenshot straight from Florida Housing. So a person or people of two making, let's say, $51,000, 80% AMI, would be paying $1,200 in monthly rent, and that includes all utilities. On the opposite spectrum, for someone who's 30% of the AMI income, they will be paying $454 a month, which includes utilities. Next slide. This is probably super small for y'all, but this is a screenshot directly from the Florida Financing Corporation. So here, that's where I got the data from. So you could track it here versus, like, let's say someone who's 80%, two people making $51,000 at 80% would be paying for a one bedroom $1,213, as I stated previously.
And one of the things I do want to say about that is that we don't get to come in and say we're going to raise your rent today. HUD sets these, and we have to follow them by law, and we can't change them. And let's say Florida Power or Duke Energy, I'm not sure whether you have Florida Power here or not, but let's say they decide, Ms. Gray, we're gonna raise a power bill $20 or $100. Your rent will adjust to make sure that you stay in that 30, 60, or 80% range. You can never by law pay more than that. That'll always be with it. And what I like about it, it's an opportunity for people that are struggling in our communities, struggling in our country, trying to make ends meet. It gives them an opportunity to live in a place that's amazing, beautiful, and live there with dignity. And that's going to be well maintained forever.
Yep, that's a great point. Just to add to that, the word affordable now has become somewhat of a buzzword. Some people give an eye roll when they hear affordable, but the reason why I wanted to show this slide and what Pastor was saying is that it's not the developers, it's not our definition of what true affordable is. This is by the state of Florida and HUD, and these rents are restricted for typically we do like to do, the minimum is 15 years or 30-year covenants, but we like to do it up to 99 years. So these rents are literally restricted up to 99 years, and the rents are dictated by HUD. So just important to note that the rents are not up to us. Yeah, that's it.
Any questions for us?
So I do, so everyone knows we do have our CRA attorney online as well as a representative from Central Florida Regional Planning Council. If there's any questions or if y'all want to opine on kind of what you heard and what zoning do you think? Would this be a PUD or what do you think? What do you think would be the best option? Maybe for us going forward.
So I'm Stephanie Von Pileski Bush with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. And we didn't have a whole lot of information about this before this meeting. But basically, the maximum density would be 16 units per acre. And if they change, they'd have to get a zone change and change the future land use, because right now the future land use is medium density residential. But that would sort of match, because to the north and east is also medium density residential, and to the south is low density residential. So as far as compatibility is concerned, that's not an issue, but the maximum density is 16 units per acre.
How big is the property?
It's about 6.52 acres, somewhere in that area.
So that would be under there.
That would get us there. That would get us there.
It would get us there. It would get us where we need to go, based on what she just said, yes. Thank you very much.
Oh,
R3 is 24 units per acre, correct?
No. R3 is 16.
R3 is 16.
from time and time again, well, first of all, Gerald Snell, 320 East Washington Street. We hear the word affordable, 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 affordable. We need to hear the word low income. Let's forget affordable. Let's kind of sidetrack that, but we need low income.
And Ms., thank you so much for your comments and your question. And these low and affordable are really almost the same. A person could pay as low as $400 a month to live in this.
Okay.
That has a pool, that has a clubhouse, that has a gazebo that they can barbecue, a game room, and all the necessary things that are there. And that's well maintained. And so it'll be a place that's truly affordable. And there are people, they say affordable, but it's really not. We have stringent guidelines that we have to follow by the state to make it low-income housing and affordable housing. And I think a lot of people use the term affordable housing now because the term low-income housing has become kind of a not a good term in communities. Sometimes it's looked at in a negative connotation. But these facilities and these apartments and that we're going to build will be very affordable for the residents of this community. Your AMI is at a pretty good rate. That's going to allow people to live at $400 a month.
It's Cliff Shepard. Is he on? Are you on? Is he on?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Yes. Can you? I don't know if how much you heard of the presentation. Can you give your opinion or your thoughts on what you heard as far as what they were requesting from the city or what would be the best route? I know I saw something. You know, I've read plenty of times. There's a land acquisition. The city can do that, but where they're basically requesting a loan that's paid back over a 30-year term. What is your opinion? What do you think is the best way, I guess, put it forward for us to how we can look to move this forward or, provide the options available to make a judgment?
Well, the answer to your question is I did hear the presentation, and unfortunately, because we're on the road, part of the stuff about the loan faded in and out. So I'm not sure about that, but here's what I am. Just by way of background, because I know we haven't met the board members or the developer here. The project sounds nice. I've got no issues with the project. Affordable housing is certainly something that can be funded through CRA TIF, but the devil's in the details. And so one thing that a CRA is not is a bank. And one thing banks do is make loans, and one thing CRAs do is not make loans. And so that is a non-starter. However, that doesn't mean there isn't a way to get to where you need to go, depending on what it is the total ask is in terms of money, and also what it is the developer looks to accomplish and over what period of time. So, as an example, I do not know if Avon Park has an affordable housing grants program, but if it did, and if it didn't, it certainly could create one for this project. And it is determined that based on what is being presented, it could provide the developer up to fill in the blank number for this project if the project delivered what it promised, a certain number of units, 106, 107, and it had all the amenities and all the things that we talked about, then that is something that you could do. But a grant is not a loan. It's not typically repayable. Now, could it be repayable? Potentially. What things would make it repayable? Typically, acts of default. So, for example, if they promised 107 and delivered 90, then some of that money might be repayable. That's an example. They promised it would be at 80% or below AMI, which is the standard by which affordability is measured. It's everywhere. And I certainly sympathize with the gentleman who said, we want low income because, there are numbers that are, when you throw out 80% AMI and 140% AMI and all that, it doesn't really matter if someone can't pay it. But affordability in Florida is measured by AMI. And
Right.
so that is why that number is important. And 80 is a pretty good number. I mean, most developers, frankly, are looking at anywhere from 80 to 140, and they tend to be on the 140 side, or certainly the 120 and up side. So if you've had a developer who's willing to commit to 80 or lower, then that's a plus. That's something that you can be happy about, and that's a good, strong commitment if it can be honored. But again, what you're doing is you're providing for affordable housing by providing a grant to the developer of a fill-in-the-blank number, typically not repayable, because that's what a grant is. There would be an application process, they'd present the project, and how do you secure that your money is going to get what it is you're paying for? Well, I just came from a 7-hour meeting in Tampa. And what they do is they put covenants and restrictions on the property after the thing is built up to a certain number of years to make sure it stays the way it was promised. So the developers told you that they follow certain guidelines and they'd have to do this and the project will always be that way. And I get all that. But, you know, in my world, it's trust but verify. And verify is a set of covenants that go on the property and stay there so that they can't change, can't sell, can't do anything else that would otherwise alter that status of affordable housing. So those are my initial takes. There are some other things that you could do. There are a number of ways this deal could be structured. But if you're looking at it right now where they buy the property, they build the housing, and what they want from us is a loan, that's one of the ways that I can't see how we're going to get there as a CRA. But as another example, what could you do that would help as well? Well, you all know, I think you do, certainly your CRA director would know, that one of the things we can do is buy property. So if you've identified this as a perfect site for the project and it has a price tag and we wanted to buy the property and then go through the process to, quote, dispose of the property to this developer so that they could get it from us to do this project that they would then commit to in writing and do all the other protections we talked about. That is another way you can get there from here. It just happens to be that the loan isn't one of those.
That's what I saw too. So I'm glad he tried. And I wanted the CRA attorney to say that without me kind of doing the lead in. But thank you for that. I think Dr. Anderson wants to say something. And
I'll wait. I'll answer his questions after he finishes. But go ahead.
Brenda Gray, 410 East Lakeview Drive, Avon Park. That was one of the questions I had. Will the CRA buy the property and then give it to the developers, or what will happen with that? How does that work?
Work either way that this CRA decides. We could purchase it or whatever. We've already looked at the land and tried to enter it and move forward. But we're open to any. You guys would decide.
Come on.
The site's under contract right now.
Yeah, so just. Maria Sutherland, 900 West Main. So what would happen if the CRA leased the property? Is that a possibility? Because if it leased it, then you can make lease payments and you can help pay back infrastructure or whatever, sidewalks or whatever for the city, so there's a payback to the community, rather than just having a gift that you will make a profit off of in the long run, pay back by paying the lease payment.
And that's an option that we can go by. One of the things that's really important, and I want to go back to, is that the LGAO.
Mike, hit the mic.
My bad, sorry. The LGAO is just such a significant thing for our application to be even considered by the Florida Finance Corporation, that LGO. And so I kind of want to talk a little bit about how they came up with it. The LGAO was the Florida Housing, the Florida Finance Corporation. They had the City of Avon Park, and this guy put in an application for the City of Avon Park. This guy put in one, that guy put in one. And so the state says, which project do we back for the City of Avon Park? And they said, here's what we'll do. We'll create something called a local government area opportunity loan. And the project that the City of Avon Park backs, they will provide that LGO to them. In other words, they'll put some skin in the game towards that project. And then we will take that project and we will give it all of the ratings and put it to the top and honor it as a project for the City of Avon Park. I do want to say too that with the city, the project that we're doing in the city of Haines City, it was a loan that that they gave us, and we paid them back. The loan, I think it's like 2 or 3% that they gave us. I actually owned the property at the time to do it, and we were paying that loan back at a 2% interest rate. And one of the things that the city asked us to do, it says I think for large county, I think it was 460,000 that they gave a loan to us. And then what we did was we said, well, we don't need the money to build a project. We just have to have the LGAO because the state said we need that. And we're not even taking any of the money for the loan until we actually get a CO from the building completely, and people are moving in. But there's a lot of different options. The city of Winter Haven, working with them, they have what they call a affordable housing fund, where they take and put money in. The city commission created a affordable housing fund. They put money into that fund, and that money is used to do affordable. And the money from the loan that's given to the developer is paid back into that loan. And we can never change it. One of the questions, the city attorney, we can't change it from affordable housing to anything else. So that's the state. And I hope I answered your question.
Would you be able to afford a lease payment?
Yeah.
I think we've done that before. Am I right?
In some ways, most of our, many times when we speak with nonprofits, like Pastor Anderson, either they'll offer to sell their land or lease it. Most of the time they offer to sell it, but what we tell them is not to sell it to us. Like, we'll just lease it from you for 99 years because the land is your legacy. You keep the land. We'll make a capitalized ground lease payment. So we'll pay the price of that lease up front at the time of closing. So there are no really monthly payments. We pay it up front, right at closing. So in some ways, it wouldn't be a monthly payment, but it would be capitalized, paid up front.
Ms. Gray, one moment. Cliff, are you still on the line?
He's driving. He might have got dropped.
Hey, Clifford, are you still on the line?
Yeah, y'all muted me, but yes, I'm still here.
All right. So we were at a symposium today by FRA, I guess it was. So we know that
Yeah,
leasing.
I know. It was given by Renee.
Yeah,
Because I'm gonna get
fantastic.
the same one in Panama City tomorrow.
Yeah, fantastic. So leasing is an option, correct?
Leasing is an option, and as being described, I'm not familiar with this local government program that he's talking about, but I mean that there's going to have to be some exploration. So, for example, what I told you about the restrictions is on the use of TIF, or tax increment funding or finance. Okay, but if what, and again, it's hard for me to understand. It's not a program I'm familiar with because in CRA world we don't. This is not what we do. I'm assuming that when they mention these other projects, they were done through cities or local governments who are not CRAs and don't have restrictions on the way they can spend their money. However, if what they're saying is the local government has to simply say, we support the project, and in exchange, if the project gets picked, then the local government, let's in this case say the CRA, will get money from the state that it can then funnel to the developer to get the work done. That's not TIF. And because it's not TIF, it's not restricted money. So there's a lot of details here that I can't work through in this Zoom meeting, and I'm happy to speak to the developer if this is something y'all want to pursue. But if that's a real important part of their funding operation, and if what it ends up is money gets funneled to the CRA and then to the developer, and we're not talking about the use of TIF, that may be doable.
Right, be unrestricted, right?
We get money from
Yeah.
finance corporation.
Let me ask one question. Who will loan the money to the CRA? You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, what I'm saying is that if I'm understanding him correctly, that like the $340,000 has to be, in order to get this project on the ground, the LGAO have to approve it for $340,000. So who will loan the money, to the CRA or to the city?
Did you copy that, Cliff?
Understood, but I don't know anything about the program. The way I thought I heard it being explained is if the local government expresses support for the project and the project gets picked, then the developers are going to have to answer this question to be sure that I'm right. But what I'm understanding is that money then would come to the local government entity, in this case the CRA, and then funnel back out to the developer, and the local government tracks. The local government is responsible for making sure the project gets built and so forth and so on. That's what it sounds like I'm hearing. Is that what I'm hearing?
What would happen? The city commission could decide to create a fund to supply the LGAO to us to build a project. And then we would repay. It doesn't have to come from the CRA. In a lot of cities, it doesn't come from the CRA. It comes from the city commission or the city budget. It is something that's budgeted for in the city. And let's say that we got funded for this project this year. It would take us another couple of years before we went through closing, financing, and everything before construction would probably end up happening. In the city of Haines City, the city of Haines City gave us the $460,000 out of their general fund, and we were actually paid it back as a loan to the city. The CRA has the ability to purchase land for us and donate that land to us, or the CRA, or we could pay the CRA for the land or something of that nature. There's a whole different ways that we could make it work, but at the end of the day, the LGAO is something that we would need to be able to turn in our application so that the city manager could say, hey, the city could say we support this project. Am I making sense? Did everybody get that?
I get it to the extent that it has to be an LGAO and that has to do with a loan. I get that. A local government essentially loan. And that's fine if the city of Avon Park is willing to do that, but the CRA cannot loan money. That's not one of the things we're empowered to do.
Right. Yeah, so that, Mr. Shepherd, one of the things you said is like we could either create our own fund through the CRA, and then it's basically providing them the money, or then we go ahead through the loan, but then it would have to be through the general fund. And I don't think it's for the value of the actual property, how they would look at if we actually somehow it worked out and the city acquired the property, because the sales prices, I believe, is lower than what you're requesting. So I'm not quite sure. I would think that getting the property would show our interest, and then giving it over to you guys would show an interest from the city standpoint. Maybe they look at it, but maybe it doesn't satisfy that application process.
Yep. Correct.
So that's where we're at. Either we get our money back, but we do it through the general fund, or we create a fund and do it through the CRA, but we just end up giving you the money. And
that is correct.
And ultimately, that project, when you look at things, and I've said this before, is that it would increase the tax on the tax base. It would increase the tax base. It would increase,
Impact
revenue for
fees,
water, sewer.
utilities,
There's impact fees that would get, I
fees.
think, even in the impact fees, we're up like around $100,000, somewhere like that, somewhere $100,000 that would come back over to the city.
Probably more than that.
But it's. You want to say something?
Impact fees in the city of Haines City, we paid about $1 million in impact fees back to the city.
Tom?
Good evening, Tom Macklin, 6009 County Road 64 East here in Avon Park. This goes back a long time ago. I remember similar conversations to this, and while I am not one, a project like this, particularly when government is involved, whether it's through the city or whether it's the mechanism is back through the CRA, with the types of guarantees that there are for affordable housing and basically control rents, this will in some way, shape, or form negatively impact landlords that we have here in the city of Avon Park. And we've had this conversation in years past, because what will be basically setting ourselves up for, the landlords, I'm not one, they're going to be in direct competition with this project, and the government will be a partner in the process. So you're basically negatively impacting landlords that have purchased properties and they have their business model set up and they know what they need on a monthly basis for rent and so on and so forth. So the unintended consequences sometimes aren't necessarily worth the impact. Now, I understand what the gentlemen are saying here in that, there's impact fees and there's all kinds of benefits. And of course, I think for the most part, most of us know what's going to happen in November as far as what they're calling property tax relief. There's going to be less ad valorem taxes coming into small and particularly rural counties like we are, and municipalities are going to be impacted. So that's a nice carrot to dangle out in front of us. But I just want you to be mindful of the fact that there are a lot of people in Avon Park that their livelihood relies upon a monthly reoccurring revenue stream in the form of rent. And if all of a sudden they're having to compete with this project and government being a participant in the process, that's going to negatively impact a lot of those people. So I just wanted that in there. I don't know if you have any empirical data, evidence, to the contrary, but I know it's been conversations that have been held in here in the past, and we've heard landlords come up and speak to that in past years. Thank you.
I have numerous rental property and have for many years in this city and the county, and I've never seen a negative impact from more housing. They put in affordable housing down off State Street. You're doing a big project there, and down behind it. And I like to see new stuff. And I've been doing this a long time, building, and I've never seen with any of my rentals a negative impact for the right kind of housing. And to me, this is, Tom, it's just that this is the right kind. I'm not going to be in direct competition with them, with the rentals I have. They're going to have a really nice place. And some people will move into that place, and I may lose a renter or two, but there's somebody waiting for that place. So it's just a step up for our community to have this kind of project. I mean, this is something we don't have. And I don't think there's any direct competition for that 106 or 7 units. I think there's something that
There is competition. It's called North Central Heights and Cornell Colony, which are housing, which is...
Can you speak into the mic, please? Thank you.
As the executive director of the Avon Park Housing Authority, this is in direct competition with 261 units that are subsidized by HUD. We have a family program and a home program. These are in competition with the home program, North Central Heights and Cornell Colony, which are subsidized to an extent exactly like this. So, and we also have the same loans. We have all of that. We have over $24 million worth of loans. So I know that recently we have come to the city for CDBG funding to help enhance and improve our properties. I'm questioning you. I guess you will have recertifications, annual recertifications,
We
all
can
of those things, right?
yep.
So those do come with increases in rent sometimes, depending on what HUD says.
Yes.
So it's not a steadfast amount of rent. It could go up, it could go down, depending on your utility allowance. So it all varies. I know that these are fluctuating numbers, as are ours. We are not increasing our rents because we're trying to remain competitive in the area. And for that matter, this right here is actually commensurate with what we have. We don't have a pool, we don't have a gym, but it's going to kill us. We're at 80% occupancy right now, and this will probably put us into 60, which will put us in default with our loans.
So I got a question, if possible. On your property management, just to let everyone know how your property management goes and how you would expect the grounds to be maintained, or would you be coming to the city to potentially have assistance to maintain your property, or what can you opine on that?
Sure. No, we wouldn't come to the city for.
Just say speaking at mic is just better.
For ongoing maintenance. So the property management company fully vets all the tenants who are coming into the community. For example, they can't make over a certain income, of course, because that'll be taking the spot of someone who really needs one of those units. But money is put aside on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, to upkeep the property. The building is repainted. We have staff-wise, we have usually 2 full-time on-site personnel. We also have a porter. There was one more staff member that we would have. There'll be a handyman and a porter to help the handyman. So that's their full-time on-site. Usually we get them a golf cart. On some of our communities, we even get them a maintenance shed so they can put their trucks or their carts and whatever else. But the building is fully maintained. The way that the building looks when we first CO is how we maintain it through its life expectancy.
Sorry, and if the residents that are there, if they cause damage to the property, or they're becoming a nuisance, or there's some residents, you guys have a manner to address that issue?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do. I'm not too familiar with the management company and how they handle those issues, but they do handle them.
Okay, thank you.
And one of the things when I did a presentation for this, most folks, in order to live comfortably, they should never pay more than 30% of their income for housing. But unfortunately, but most people do. In the city of Lakeland, more than 60% of residents pay more than 30% of their income for. And the federal government, when you do that, you're considered a low-income individual. And then at 30% is, if you're paying more than 30%, then you're severely low income. And one of the things we pride ourselves in this facility is maintaining it and looking like a resort and looking like a place that people can be proud of. Affordable housing throughout the United States is an issue. People can't afford it. The average person cannot afford the average cost of a home in the United States. True. Policemen, firemen, all of those people, they can't afford it. The average first-time buyer can afford a home anywhere between $160,000, maybe $190,000, maybe $200,000 or $150,000. But most people cannot afford a $350,000 home because they can't afford the mortgage. Affordable housing was brought years ago by the Reagan administration because the government wanted to get out of public housing, and they wanted to find a way, how can we get government and private to work together to build housing for communities. Ronald Reagan was a genius. Came up with a plan, and here we are. People's lives are being changed because of this. Thank you.
Hey, Jason,
Yes, sir.
what are the revenue implications for the city with this property?
I mean, the thing that is attractive for me is that being the rental, I'm not gonna, if there is homestead, then that's not going to affect us. So, it's rental property, it's gonna be revenue. We're gonna get money on that. Water, sewer, the garbage. It's the taxes is, the tax revenue that we get, we're not going to be missing out. We get properties that are in the $200,000 range, and next thing you know is $250,000 exemption. There's not much revenue going anywhere but the schools.
Right.
So for those, but the good thing, I will say this, roughly, so y'all know our homestead, the exemption, it's roughly a third. Okay. So I thought it would be 2/3 of people, but it's only 1/3 for people that have the homestead exemption that the city would lose out that revenue on. So you all know, we have looked into it. I've looked and saw what the numbers are and some of the scenarios. But this wouldn't affect us. This would be positive in revenue and everything else.
And just really quick to address your concern about the competition. It's a very valid concern, but
It's not necessarily the competition.
Oh.
You don't mind me interrupting. We have RAD programs, which is somewhat like Section 8, but it's not with vouchers. The issue is there are management fees that we collect that go into the general fund that subsidize our zero rent residents. So when we have a loss of revenue based on rents, what that means, there's loss of revenue going towards the zero rent people, which is the most in the community. So this would actually hinder our ability to house people that can't afford rent. So we have Ridgedale, Delaney, which is our elderly people, they pay maybe $0 rent, $30 rent, and they're making about what your people here will be paying $400 for. It's going to affect those clients that we have, and those are the most underserved and the least protected. So, we have about, I can't remember the exact number, maybe 150 people at Ridgedale. There are 38 units there, 50 units at Delaney. And then, of course, we have Lakeside 1 and Lakeside 2, which are our homeless sections, which are also subsidized by the ones that make some money, which are comparable to yours. So it's going to affect all of those residents. And, we already have a homeless issue within the city. I don't know that we would be able to keep sustaining those ones that we have right now if we lose income on the ones as similar to yours.
Yep, that is a good point. But what I could say is that there is a shortage of around 400,000 units in the state of Florida for low-income housing, like the one that we're presenting today. So when we develop these communities, we almost 10 of them, and they will fully lease up, just because most of our communities have an interest list of 400 to 600 people, and when we see it's mostly about logistics of trying to move it. There are so many people that have a need for this kind of housing. With 400,000 units shortage in Florida, that and yet something of the matter of what you're saying.
Please use the mic. Yeah.
My name is Heidi Vance. I am a homeowner on 90 East Raymond Street, and this all sounds great for the developers and for the city, but what does it do to my property value? That will be around the corner from my home. And we all know it's fancy. I don't care how fancy it is. Studies have shown, we all know that there's an increase in crime, drug activity, gun activity, sexual abuse, child abuse in these types of places. And Avon Park doesn't even have a police department. How do we plan on handling the increase in crime that's going to take place? Has anyone thought of that?
Do you want us to address that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
To address it, because I'm not very happy about this.
Facility is so amazingly nice. It would not lower your.
I'm sure. Look at the projects down Helmick Ray.
What?
A beautiful lake community, totally ruined by low housing income.
We're required to maintain ours, and I don't know how
What you
that.
say now?
Here's what I would like to do, Charles. Here. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't buy my.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am, we can't have a yelling match. One at a time, too, please. Let him speak, and then you want to come up and speak. Right. Right now, but he was going to. We want to have some decorum here, okay? I don't want to have a yelling match. If they respond and you can come back, it's up. But the chair's he's the one who's running the meeting. But I do not want to have that back and forth, please.
As part of the property management that we have on staff, all tenants are fully vetted, and we do background checks on all tenants. That where we draw the line, not to be, if you had a pass and you were able to get over that, that's fine. We don't turn people away for those kind of things. But we draw the line is on domestic abuse, anything that's predatory, anything like that. We draw the line. They won't be living in our communities. And if something were to happen, yes, we do address that immediately, as quick as possible. And this is not a community with absent management. There's usually one or two full-time, all-day management that's on staff. And the way that we position our office within the clubhouse is in an area where they can see out and see everything that's going on. We also have, well, I guess I could talk about that too. We also have cameras all throughout the facility. We have fob access, key fob access into the doors, the club rooms, the gym, everything else. So it's well maintained, it's well managed.
And one of the things that we plan to do is try to get our city manager and some of them to actually visit one of our facilities that's about 5 or 6 years old, so that you can see how well maintained they are. And so the proof will be in the pudding and how we well maintain the facilities.
I will say this because we'll see where we are at the end of what the recommendation is, and I told him I really didn't want to bring it up, but the other option was the 55 and older. That was the other option. That's where we wanted to go, right? You want to go do that as well, or instead? I mean,
that was originally what was proposed, but from my understanding, it was
and that was there, but it's up to the community. That's why we have boards, right? And that's why we have the council, and they listen and they hear the pros. And nothing's going to be perfect across the board, but what's chosen and what I heard at the time was we were looking for some affordable housing. So that's why I said focus on that. But so you all know that was on the table. If that's, I mean, we don't have to come up with jobs for that much for the 55 and older community because they have money. Most of them are retired or some kind of income, and that's the benefit, right? So, but it's up to you all. You think about it and what comes about, and I think they would probably go either way. They may go the 55 and older instead, but it's just something for everyone to think about.
It's not really a question. They follow the same rules that we follow. So I know they do background checks, VAWA as well. I presume that if there's violence there, that you help relocate people and things like that. If you have unauthorized guests, you send out lease violations. And if they do stuff that they're not supposed to, you evict them. But do you evict them? Do you stick to your rules, or do you let people or do they slide? Because you will have that element. About 50% of your residents will cheat. And they won't declare their income and things like that. So will you be validating, making sure that they're not taking advantage of whatever the city may end up giving you, that the commitment that you will protect those tax dollars and ensure that no one abuses their way of getting in by cheating the system? And what level of policies and enforcement will you use for that? And so I know HUD has rules for those things. If there's anyone that's lax in those rules, you will get abused and you will lose, and the place will not start looking very well because there's just a lack of care when there's lack of oversight. I think the project is lovely. I think it's really beautiful. I would hate to see what it does to housing inside of Avon Park. I don't want it to affect our low-income individuals, very low income and extremely low income. That's part of the long-range planning for our city, and I just don't want it to affect that. So whether it's for adult 55 or a part of it for that, or part of it for young people or whatnot, my only question is, who are you going to recruit to live here? The Addison apartments are not full. Ours are not full. There's a project of 800 homes that are going behind Memorial Elementary. We have another development of housing up on the east side of town. Nothing has stirred the dirt yet. And so I just wonder, when you have all of these projects on the table, at what point do you say enough? Because Avon Park right now has the absolute lion's share of affordable homes in all of Highlands County. And because of that, are we going to become the affordable home center of Highlands County and neglect the fact that we would like to have some high-end homes as well? I would wish that we had affordable homes that had affordable mortgages. That truly is an affordable home and part of the American dream. Here you're going to have a lot of transient people like we do. A lot of people will skip without ever paying their rent, and then they'll never be able to rent anywhere else. But these are elements that come with this type of a project. So I know they're going to have their issues internally, just like we do. I just hope that it doesn't affect our homeless and the people that can't afford rent, because it's really going to affect us. It will. That's why I was hoping there'd be some kind of a lease payment, because at least it could go back into the community and maybe help service-oriented organizations with food banks or whatnot, and just kind of give back that way, because then you do have some skin in the game and you can control the money on where it goes when it's received.
Dr. Anderson, do you have a 55 and over conceptual thoughts on this, or could it be split, or is it?
No, yes, we can do a 55 and plus. The one in Haines City is a senior community as well, 106 units there. We can actually do one where it's a mix of both families as well as seniors, so you can do both. And our desire is to do whatever the city would desire us to do, to bring to this community a facility that you and everyone that's who would be proud of, and that's well maintained. And when you visit our communities, whether they're 5, 6, 7 years old, and I would be willing to take anyone that want to go, they still look amazing. And I just want to say we're about 5 to 6 months away from completion of our senior facility in Haines City. And we get about 30 calls a day for housing. And we actually just turned in a list last week about 50 individuals. We turned it in yesterday. Already today, we have about 30, 40 people on another list for housing. There's a need for housing in our country.
So we've set in place infrastructure. We went ahead and got the fire truck that can go up 4 or 5, right? So we didn't do all that for nothing. And Maria, I really appreciate your impassioned speech about what you're saying. I think we can come up with some type of a plan. I don't know if we know the value of the property right now. Jason, do we have a value on the property?
I mean, I know how much the property costs, or they were selling it for. So it's it's mid twos. So that's what they're looking at.
You want me to?
Yes, sir.
You want me to state it?
Go right ahead.
We currently have it under contract for $220,000.
But just what does it do to my property value and the other homeowners in the area, their property value, being next to a low income complex like that?
So I'll say this. I live in the Tulane area, Lake Tulane area, and that area, they went and took a field that was basically empty, which it's just weeds that's growing over there. It's had a church. This is a church sign, and it's been sitting there, not generating anything for the city, just a big open field. And then the same type of thing was over, I guess maybe there was some kind of grove or whatnot that was right there off State Street and Cornell, the new place that they built. But now you got the very nice, it's blue and gray. The landscaping looks amazing. It looks really nice. And I didn't know what to think in the neighborhood, but our neighborhood has there's housing that I don't know if it's some kind of like apartment housing or what's in there. It's got the black picket fence all the way around it, but there's like no trees on the lot, not very appealing visually. But the other place looks absolutely beautiful. When I drive by it, I'm like, oh, that looks nice, And I think if you were coming down Lake Ave and driving there and looking and seeing a beautiful property, you would say, wow, look at this place. This is like, I don't want to say it's turning into Orlando, but it's turning into something that looks better than what is around. I mean, I would love to, and so you'd all know, I'm not a proponent of modular housing this place up, and that's what many developers are trying to do. And what I see when I see something that looks very nice and can be maintained, but also provide the city with extra revenue and just be something that would be an excellent experience for people to live in, that's why it's appealing to me. And I understand you say that what kind of people, but I think like Dr. Anderson said, it's a stigmatism. So
It's not. I've lived in those areas. I know what it does to the communities. And it can look pretty, but if crime is up, what are we going to do? There's no police.
There's income. There's the same thing that there's other areas in the city, but that area and what the people that they're saying that they're bringing there, or that when they do their checks, they're screening people as it is.
They check into people that the residents are sneaking in.
So I don't, you won't hear me up here on, speaking into the microphone saying bad things about the residents of Avon Park or who.
I'm a resident of Avon Park.
Yeah.
I pay city and county taxes to the tune of nearly $5,000 because I live in the city limits.
Yes. And
yes.
Yes, and many of us pay taxes in here as well.
You pay both?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we do.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
And I want a low housing complex around the corner from my house, depreciating my value.
Just like I do. And it didn't depreciate my value. Not at all. Didn't do anything to my value.
Let's hope not. Let's hope that everybody sticks to their word.
That's where it is. So
when you guys, sounds like you have your mind made up. You're not even listening to the citizens of Avon Park who bought a house in Avon Park to try to help grow the community.
I think everyone heard what you had to say. Yeah. I heard you. And it's a right. Okay.
Sir, any questions
You-
from you, Rick? Anybody?
It looks like to me that we're not going to accomplish much more than what we've accomplished already here tonight. It looks promising to me, and I own 2 houses on Raymond, so I know your area. And I don't think that this type unit, this is just my opinion, and that's it, that I don't think it's going to hurt that neighborhood a bit. I think it's going to enhance.
Please stop from the.
Ma'am,
please.
if you want to say something, you say it in the microphone. We're not here to argue.
We're not here to argue, but your opinion and your opinion doesn't make how I feel or my opinion or my fear less valid, does it?
Well, I think we all have opinions.
We do, then we all have one.
Any questions from the committee or anyone else? I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your honest feedback to us. And we hope that we can continue to work with the city manager and their office to bring an amazing, beautiful facility. And I want to make a personal invite to you guys. Please reach out to me and let's go look at some of the things that we built and see how well.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank you
presentation.
for your time. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you all.
Chair Hayes, can we go back to the fishing piers and the seawall to make a decision? I'm sorry, we skipped over.
So you want to go back to
The voting dogs.
Mr. Atkinson?
Okay. City
It's,
manager,
it's my feeling, and I don't know, the rest of the people can chime in here, that you need the money to do this right. And if we need more funds, then let's do that, because to give you the money to do what you need to do, it needs to be the right way. And for parking, for the handicapped, for the floating dock, and then you willing to have some of your crew come in and help with the installation, you're going to save a tremendous amount of money, but we don't want you to work with less than you need or come out of the general fund or whatever, if we can contribute and make that happen.
Thank you. I'll start the process. I heard which way you all want to go, and then I will start getting the prices, and then if we need to make an adjustment, I will come back.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you want us to make a motion so that you have something?
We already have money in there. It's just whether we bring it up or down. I don't, you know, that
So
at that time, I will come back to you and let you know exactly what I need to do.
Exactly.
Because right now, I can't tell you exactly how
Exactly.
much. So
Yep.
but your guidance was appreciated. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Okay, now you want to go to number 2?
Yes. Matt, if you could pull up the slide for the snapshot, please. And can you go to the south side, please? The south side. Yes, that one. Okay, with the south side budget, if you look at the facade grant at the very top, and our balance is $695.73. And I have 7 families that are looking, when I reopen it in July 1 of this year, are looking to possibly get some grant funding. So out of this, I'm asking if we could do some shifting as well in the south side, excluding the fishing pier and the seawall. Because again, we're looking at pricing on that. We're going to be looking at pricing on that. But I wanted to look at a possibility of using funds in another line item to take care of the 7 families until we reach the new budget for 26-27, FY year 26-27.
Can you pull it from banners?
Yes, I can.
There's 8 families waiting, Jeanette?
I think it's 7. I put a list inside of the
Yeah,
packet.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it's about 7, and it's going
Are
to
they
be.
complete applications?
They have
Do you have
not
the
because
bidding and all that?
they have not completed the application because right now it's closed until July 1st of
Right.
this year. Once I reopen it, then they will do the full application, and each grant has an amount of $5,000 per
So
grant.
you're asking us to open it early? Is that the idea?
No. I'm
No,
asking
this
that I can
slides money
transfer from another line item.
I think we have that additional money in the banners to begin with. I think, I forget where we're at, but I think it's over 80,000 left.
Have you spent any money out of the banners in Southside?
On the south side, if you look at the banners, I don't see it. It looks like I've spent, I think it's like $600, maybe. Yeah, $695 in banners for the south side. The balance is 49.
And you're looking at 30, I'm sorry, Jeanette, you're looking at 35,000?
About 25, I think, if my math is correct, for 7 families that I have on the list.
Okay.
I would just do the ones that are on the waiting list
Right.
at this current time, and then anyone that wants to do an application, it will not be done until the new fiscal year, which is September 30th. 5,000 per unit, per home. Okay, so 35.
You wanting us to make a motion to move the money?
Please. Yes.
I'm sorry?
A recommendation. Recommendation, because it still
right.
has to go before
Right.
the board
Correct,
on the 22nd.
correct.
I'll make a recommendation to move 25, why don't we say 30? 35,000? Why don't we make a recommendation to move 35,000 away from the banners to cover this 4-month period, or 3-month period, to get them the grants?
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Yeah, 35,000, right? That's correct, 7 times 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Please call the roll.
Member Seveny?
Yes.
Member Shepherd?
Yes.
Member Downey?
Yes.
Member Snell?
Yes.
Chair Hayes?
Yes. Next would be number 3.
On number 3, going over the budget with Danielle, we're going to have to revisit it because with these snapshots that I created for you guys to take a look at, all of the money that's still sitting in the FY 25-26 is automatically rolled over to 26-27. So until we spend it, it's sitting there. So I can't actually show you numbers until we actually take the opportunity to
Allocate it.
take the funds out. So for number 3, it's actually, we'll put that on hold if it's okay with the board, the members.
Okay, that's fine. We don't need a motion for that. Number 4.
Number 4 is the Leadership Highlands. I'm asking to attend the next course that will start. Mr. Leadership Highlands is designed to develop and strengthen the community leadership by providing participants with a comprehensive understanding of the opportunities, challenges, and resources within Highlands County. So I'm asking to be able to attend the next program with the South Florida State Community College. And the amount is $16.96.
Do I have a motion for that? To send her to school?
I'll make a motion to attend the Leadership Highlands for Jeanette.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Member 70?
Yes.
Member Shepherd?
Yes.
Member Downey?
Yes.
Vice Chair Snell?
Yes.
Chair Hayes?
Yes. Okay. Staff update?
We do have an update. Could you do the next slide, please, Matt, for the no, the next packet of slides for the pad, splash pad.
While you're looking for that, I just want to ask a quick question. And when we're doing coming up with our CRA budget, for contributions and assisting people actually get into home ownership, reading through the CRA, the plan, the master plan, the plan that they have, it's great. It's amazing. So in there's plenty of opportunities to assist people get into homes, whether it's, help them with their down payment or buy down mortgage points and different things like that, which was brought up, which was a good statement. Is that something that you all would like to see start getting incorporated into the budgeting process to get a line item in there to assist with home ownership? And I did reach out, by the way, to one of the directors in South State Bank to have a conversation regarding teaching members of the community, trying to help them with the credit, getting their credit right, and making sure they're ready to help themselves get into a home. So providing those opportunities to the community, and then potentially where the city or the CRA is part of, getting people in and getting them qualified for mortgages, I think would be, and it even goes into getting lots and providing architectural services so people can build their own home, and providing that opportunity, which I think would be just as good to start filling in some of these vacant lots. Do y'all like that idea to try to incorporate
Everybody like
that into?
idea?
Yeah, that's in the plan, right? For that?
Yes, it's in it.
Yeah, it's
It's in it. It's really good. I mean, I went through it, and it's plenty of the things that before I even read it, I said I would like to do this. When I read it, it was in there, like adding more street lights and all those things are there. It's like, this is step 1, step 2. We've done some of the steps, but now we still need 2, 3, 4, and in phases. And I'd like to continue on, but I really would like to get some people into the, purchasing and whether building a nice home on a lot. I think it would be excellent.
Yeah, I think we need to pursue it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Matt. Thank you. Sorry about that, Matt.
Okay, you can go to the next slide, Matt. Here we have received our proposal and renderings for the new splash pad. And this is the one that myself and Jason went over, and we are looking to move forward. We wanted to show it to you, the advisory board. As you see, it's going to have 10 water sprouts, and then that flower in the middle, each petal will have a water sprout. I didn't print a copy for myself, so it's kind of hard to read it from back here.
It's going to be a popular place.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be very popular. And it looks like there's a cost on the top. If you see it, it's $297,643, and we did budget for $250. So we may go over, but it's going to be within that $800 that we have for the pickleball as
Right.
well as a splash pad.
Right.
But I just wanted to let you guys see that we are moving forward and we do have a rendering and a proposal.
And this is Sourcewell, so.
And it's Sourcewell.
And this is, at the bidding process. And I do want to make a mention that when I did get this, when I see it come across last week, it didn't, it was sent by one of the, I guess, proposers, but it had to get sent through the Sourcewell contractor. So in that, when I originally got the plan, I did reach out to Cool and Cobb, who's the ones that are tasked with submitting the Swift Mud permit for the pickleball courts. So just kind of picture a teardrop, so where there's kind of minimal spacing in between. I don't say minimal, but smaller spacing in between the exercise furniture that's out there. And then as it opens up into the field, it gets like the teardrop gets a little bit bigger. So I told them to incorporate into their design for the pickleball courts to incorporate like at least another 1,000 square feet, even though this is 400. However, you take a little bit of the additional. So I told them like anywhere 1,000, maybe 1,500 would be nice, but for any additional items where we have a lack of permeability to kind of take this into consideration.
And that would suffice with mud?
And then whenever we did submit, or when they would go to submit for their permit through the county, then they would already have, we would already have this accounted for, this additional space, and it would be called out in a document that we already have that, and that would, so I'm trying to do two things at once, like a general contractor would do. Yeah, so hopefully we're not, we wait, by the time we get it, I can already have those plans get drawn so I don't have to turn around and tell you. And they did tell us, 3 months for this project? Like
Yes.
once they get to go ahead, they told us 3 months. So, and I don't want to be, I don't want to be waiting or any delays. So
Christmas?
So
yeah,
what's
we're not trying to do that, sir.
You going, all right? Yeah, okay.
What are the next steps for that then? If you can just.
They're waiting on Swift Mud permit.
No, it's when the actual proposal, did we get it, did it come through, was it Gordian?
It came through Gordian, and we actually presented it to the advisor yourself, and then we need to present it on the 22nd to the board.
But what I do want to make sure of, there were some, even though I told them multiple times that I don't want exclusions in there, that would be their responsibility. They still have some. So that final level of negotiation, and if I can get that level of negotiation going, we will try to maybe pose like a joint CRA board meeting at our next, potentially, if we can get that, so we can just squeeze this, get this project in and going if you all desire that. If I can get everything set and negotiated and we're fine.
Looks great.
Next slide, Matt. This is just the specifications that we have, and the exclusion that he mentioned on there. I can't read it from here. But I think it was a shade structures that they're not going to be, they're excluding shade structures.
And I did find some shade structures online. A manufacturer sells some really nice ones that we can use, and then maybe just not do the hard metal, but just something, the cloth, but look really nice that would go around there, and that wouldn't count against your impermeability.
We were at the park up there today in Winter Haven, and that's what they did up there.
Yeah.
And they're gorgeous.
Yep.
It really looks good. I walked down along the shoreline because I got there early, and it's a beautiful place. So I'm starting to get your vision.
Thank you.
Next slide, Matt. And here's the location. If you look at the big cloud red circles, that's where the actual location will be. It's just north of the future pickleball court.
Don't look at the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom is just something that
Don't
they
look at the
wanted us to
bottom.
look at.
It's just the top
We're
cloud.
going with the top cloud.
So I'm just going to just so everyone can see, I'm going to walk up there and do it.
So, okay.
Right there, it's going to be a splash pad, and this will be the tank.
Okay.
Looks great.
Any questions?
No. Beautiful.
Donaldson Park.
Come out, come on. That's
Can't wait.
3 years in the making.
what say what now?
Mm-hmm.
3 years for pickleball and for splash pad, yes.
yeah.
Crazy question. Do we have any estimate on when for both? Or we just have to wait for the permitting? Okay.
Sorry, I apologize. Once we get the go ahead and they said 3 months, that's the time they told us for the splash pad. The permitting is, it should be this week on the going over to Swift Mud for the calculation of the retention pond.
Labor Day.
And, yeah.
So
it's
by Labor Day.
Was that a deficiency by them that has been corrected? Is that where we're at
which for
for the retention?
the retention pond was, you all see, did I explain the issue with the
Yes.
why we needed a retention pond? Okay. It's that parking lot right there. So that's
Okay.
the reason we didn't, that used to be a tennis court. So when they put it as a parking lot, it met a different standard because of a pollutant load. And by the way that's going to go and the way it rolls off, all that stormwater, when it comes off the pickleball courts, will kind of go to the northeast. So that's the way it's going to shed water.
Looks great.
Okay, that concludes the pickleball presentation. I mean, this splash pad presentation.
All right.
That's all we have.
All right.
That's it?
That's it.
That's all?
That's it. That's all.
Here, I'll give you one more thing. One more thing. Why not? Why not? We're here. I did get pricing. I want to say it's $28,000 to put another sign. Go put an airport for the CRA sign. So the same thing that you all see that's on the north and south sides, edges of the city, we would then go put out, where the two-fly hangar is, more or less right there in the corner of the property.
Yeah.
We'd be looking to put something right there. So when you come in, we got the price. You already seen how it looks. We'll kind of dress it up a little bit and keep going and do some more beautification. But that's the next thing that's on the horizon for the airport. And hopefully, are y'all?
Can we take
Can-
action on that?
Yeah, can we do? I don't know if it wasn't.
It wasn't actually on the agenda.
Okay.
It wasn't on the agenda. So maybe I can get it in time for the next one, and maybe I can put those two on there for you guys.
Now that needs to be done.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
It
people
would-
on that road.
I would do. I don't know where else. I think someone mentioned Memorial, but here's the thing with Memorial. I don't know where we're going to be at as far as our city limits coming up, and we have such a gap. Like part of our Crystal Lake is us, right? So where are we putting our sign there? And the majority of what you have out at the airport, even all that, it feels like Avon Park, but there's even a portion that says county, but it's owned by the city.
Right.
So, I think I know that spot, but if you all can say another place where you would like a gateway sign, let me know, because maybe the pricing is somewhat the same where we were before, and if we can have some consistency, that would be great, because it'd be the same look. The only thing that would be different is the main streets. The edges, that would be a little bit smaller footprint. Yeah. But if you all know, prior to the next meeting, and you tell me, or someone could reach out and say, we would like this on Memorial, we would like it by the high school, or we would like it, just let me know, and I'll try to incorporate it. But right now, I just know about the one that I can say, yeah, that's a good spot.
So it starts at Crystal Lake, right? Our new line is Crystal Lake?
you never know how it plays out. I mean, we provide water down to, what's it, Sebring Ridge, I think it is. So we provide water down there, and our ultimate goal and plan was to get down further. And there's another community that's trying to get into the city that, we may take that on. So, I just don't want to say, hey, welcome to Avon Park, and we're all the way down the road. You know what I mean?
I was thinking the same thing.
So that's what I want to kind of be careful of.
It'd be great if you could have it ready the next meeting.
I will have one ready for you at the next meeting. Okay.
Okay. Great.
So, just to be clear, we are asking for the CRA advisory to join us on June 22nd with the CRA board. And then we can propose all of these things and get it voted in. If it's possible.
Is it 5:30?
I'll be out of town, but
Kelvin will be here.
yeah.
5:30.
5.
Okay.
I'll be creeping in
5:30.
here.
We can do
I'll be-
5:30.
Okay, I'll be creeping in here at 5.
Okay, we'll do 5:30.
All right.
I'll write you a note.
The vice chair will probably be here, so he can. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Just right.
Yes, welcome back, Gerald.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yes.
Been a rough road, but
The dead has
Okay,
risen.
if there's no further business, just announcing that the next CRA advisory meeting will be Thursday, July 9 at 5:30 p.m.
Tom, do you have a public comment?
go ahead.
Now we're lit. Tom Macklin, 609 County Road 64 East here in Avon Park. I wanted to bring something up that I had mentioned to the city manager back in February. I've spoken with Eric about it. I mentioned it to the mayor also back in February. And this really kind of goes in line with Main Street. So when we think my conversation, since the city council, in my opinion, wisely decided not to move forward with the project, with the DOT, redoing everything with Main Street and so on and so forth. One of the problems that continues to exist is e-bikes, scooters, traveling at high rates of speeds on the sidewalks in the downtown area. Quite frankly, golf carts. There's one parked on South Lake Avenue next to the poorhouse on my way in this evening. The types of things that, quite frankly, when you have a zero lot line and people walking in and out of businesses just are not conducive to foot traffic. I had in early February about a 2-hour-long conversation with Major Darren Hood with the Sheriff's Department, talking about what types of levels of enforcement could be stepped up. And he mentioned to me something that the city of Sebring is already doing. It's enhanced community policing. That if it's a part of your community redevelopment agency's master plan, they can actually pay for through the funding that you have. They charged, at the time that we had the conversation, $50 an hour for a deputy and the vehicle to patrol. Sebring basically does foot traffic. They walk around the area in the circle and up and down Ridgewood and different places. But he says if you want them to do traffic enforcement, they'll do traffic enforcement. If you just want them to walk up and down Main Street, and what they do is they do this on volunteer hours. They offer it to off-duty deputies, and they get a certain amount of it, and then there's a portion of it that goes to the Sheriff's Department. And you set the hours and the days. You might say, I would like to have 4 hours on a Tuesday morning, maybe some on Thursday. So it's whatever you decide that you want, we as a city, but it can be funded through tax increment financing that's generated through the CRA, and they would basically pay for it. It's worked out very well according to everybody in Sebring, that they love to see the people that are walking, the foot patrol. But quite frankly, the traffic up and down Main Street's just too fast. And the sidewalks with zero lot line setbacks here in the historic downtown area, it's no place for e-bikes that are running 20, 25 miles an hour, or scooters, quite frankly. I think there should be an ordinance that's adopted that just bans them, at least on the sidewalks in the historic downtown area. And I'm going to, talk to the city council about that. It would be very easy to adopt. But again, you can adopt anything that you want. Enforcement is always the key. And it's always a problem. But I'd like for you to at least consider, if you haven't had this conversation up to this point, whether or not you think the enhanced community policing component would be something that the Main Street CRA would be willing to consider to help slow down traffic on Main Street and also get certain types of vehicles off of the sidewalks where, quite frankly, it's not conducive to foot traffic. And so I just wanted to bring this up for your consideration. Obviously nothing tonight, but for kind of roll it around in the back of your mind and see if it's something that you think that might be a benefit to the downtown area, and whether or not you all would like to partner in that process. So I just wanted that out there tonight.
So Jeanette, if it's in Sebring's CRA, it's in our CRA, correct?
It's permitted.
So-
We read that today.
Yeah, like Chair Hayes says, it's permitted, but we don't have that written in our CRA.
And so you all know, when it did come up, and it talked to the mayor about it. Personally, I think it's an excellent idea, and I'd love to do it. However, with our CRA attorney, I did speak to our CRA attorney, trying to see different ways around it. The way it is enhanced community policing per him is, coming up with different levels of maybe some kind of technology base, or you get like a retired police chief who comes out and talks about community policing and stuff like that. But trying to hey, can I get $50 an hour? Can I? It was emphatically no from Mr. Shepard, and trust me, Cliff Shepard, by the way. So it was, but it was a no from him. And I tried to work my way, try to see how I can maneuver it, I can massage the thing, and he told me no. And I said, no. That's what he said. He said, you got other things you could try to do, but that's you can't use an off-duty police officer. And then I did talk to Major Hood, and when I was telling him about it, he sounded a little reluctant. He's like, yeah, maybe, the problem is like when they actually get to have someone out there, what are going to be the hours, what's going to be the time. And he basically's like, tell me the problems and I'll try to fix it. And so that's where we got into the traffic. As you all see, I know when I came back, this one of the things that came up was there was an issue with the speeding. They're still speeding, but I do see a large amount, like a larger police force out there that's working the road, and they've been out there. Now, do they get everybody? No, but they are more present. In regards to the scooter issue, yeah, I think it's an issue. Open the door, guys coming by in a scooter, flying, doing his thing. That's an issue. But in the contrary, I will say, tell that kid that's going over to Donaldson Park, say, hey, get off there and jump into the street with your scooter, okay? Because I was in Bal Harbor, and people were complaining about, hey, they're on the sidewalk. So guess what? The kid was out there riding and had to go jump into Collins Avenue with cars coming by him, and they're, guys are on their cell phone. And you got a kid that are out there on a scooter, and they're going right by him. So, yes, there's the enforcement. Are you allowed to just blare, go through there? I think that's something we can look at, but just making them get into the road, you're not going to stop the micromobility devices. No. Yeah, we're just going to make them hey, kid, get in the road, get out there on Main Street and go ride down Main Street, right? That's a problem, and it's an issue.
It's a whole different
So it's a different story, It's one thing you get hit, but you have one kid, and this place is going to be filled up. And I don't want to go tell a parent, hey, sorry, I just, it's the lesser evil. I personally, but it's everyone here's decision and the council's decision. I'm just providing my background of it. Right. But we did look into, I spent the time, I did look into the community policing. I would have loved to have that. I asked it for the south side, I asked it for Main Street.
Yep.
And that both of them got shot down.
Mhm.
So, and I think you remember me telling you that. So I did tell you that. But
Yep.
that's where that is. Thank you. But thank you for bringing it up, Mr. Macklin.
Anything else?
Home.
What about roller skating? Oh, let's go on. Let's go.
Home.
We stand adjourned.